on US iTunes. We have a problem in this country about race, and the biggest problem is we refuse to admit that it exists.
Well, the biggest problem is the fact you guys talk about it nonstop. Oh boy. All right. We're going to try to see if we can get to this video without losing it, because this is The View, and they're sharing their perspective on the country song Jason Aldean, that Try That in a Small Town. Yeah, so we're going to listen to what these ladies have to say today. First of all, I have a hard time getting through their rhetoric for the most part, but I'm going to try prayerfully, see by the grace of God if I can endure.
And he's completely honest.
You're going to see what they have to say. Like and subscribe to the page, click the bell icon for more, and also link in the description below. Thank you for all of you that are coming in, supporting the channel as well. Let's take a listen to The View.
So country singer Jason Aldean is getting backlash for the video of his song Not in a Small Town, which critics are saying is racist. It's got lyrics, racist lyrics, and images.
I thought the song was named Try That in a Small Town. Okay, let's keep going.
Aldean says the song's about unity. Here's South Dakota Christy Nome defending him. Here's the clip.
I am shocked by what I'm seeing in this country, with people attempting to cancel this song and cancel Jason. I think a lot of times people that go out and fight every day on these important issues and have an opinion and remember the freedom and liberty that this country was founded on get persecuted from it. And we're seeing that with the Aldeans right now and the songwriters that work so hard on this. And I just want them to know that we support them. We love them. Thank you for writing a song that America can get behind. And boy, keep singing, keep playing. And if you want to come to South Dakota, I'll let you play anywhere.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, I don't have an issue with that, but I'm sure they're going to spin it somehow. Let's take a listen.
Let him play anywhere? You own South Dakota now? You'll let him play anywhere? You own South Dakota now?
Wow. That's not what she said.
Listen, you know, there are lyrics in the song, and I think, you know, he talks about life in a small town, and it's different, you know, and he shows these images. He's got folks from the Black Lives Matter movement, and he's talking about people taking care of each other. And I find it so interesting that it never occurred to Jason or the writers that that's what these folks were doing. They were taking care of the people in their town.
Oh, you serious? But most of these people were not even from the town. They were coming from different places. I mean, Candace Owens has the documentary, The Greatest Lie Ever Sold, where it was revealed that the Black Lives Movement itself were hiring rioters to go in different towns to carry out some of these, should I say, violent rioting and looting. They were not people from their town. They were people that were not even, they were paid to do some of this stuff. And again, Antifas and all these people, majority of them were not even from the town that they were rioting. They were doing the writings from. So she is so disconnected.
Because they didn't like what they saw. Just like you talk about people taking care of each other in small towns. We do the same thing in big towns.
What is that?
You just have to realize that when you make it about Black Lives Matter, people kind of say, well, are you?
The song wasn't about Black Lives Matter at all. As a matter of fact, Black Lives Matter was not even mentioned. Now, there were some Black Lives Matter protesters there, but Black Lives Matter protesters, majority of them weren't just black people. They were a mixed race for the most part. So how did you come to this conclusion?
What?
Again, this is The View.
You talk about black people? What are you talking about here? If we're talking about Americans taking care of each other, then it shouldn't be about Black Lives Matter. You should be able to show all the different things that have gone on in our country where...
That's what he did, though. I mean, you only have so much to do, so much time to do that. So what is the point of this argument? He was making an American song, standing for the value of Americans, standing for community, camaraderie, love within a small town. Now, this doesn't mean everything in a small town is perfect, but in small towns, things are better, safer. So, what exactly is Whoopi Goldberg talking about?
Where people stood up and said, no more. We do the same thing that small towns do. That's my two.
Not exactly. Not exactly. What larger cities do and what small town people do are very two different things. Like larger city people, and again, I was raised in the larger cities, okay? Oftentimes when they carry out their deeds, it's extreme. They weren't just protesting. They were looting, rioting, burning down churches. They were hurting people, shooting people. As a result of that, we have what is known as the Ferguson effect, where cops are no longer willing to engage with a black person just so that they don't call them racist. There is all of this stuff we have now, defund the police and all these different things that resulted in that. So they weren't doing small town kind of pushback or rioting. They were doing something that this was, it was evil. It was wrong. And people were disturbed and afraid. Most of us didn't know what to do with this stuff. Now that our nerves are calm, we can look back and say, no, the Black Lives Rioters particularly, and those Antifas, they were extremists. They were not helping anything. They were hurting people, hurting businesses. Now, if you have an issue with cops, why do you go to the moms, pops businesses and shut it down? Like, help me to make sense of this nonsense. Because you cannot tell me you mad at the police, but you're burning down businesses who did absolutely nothing to you?
Shocked?
Confused.
Come on, man.
2 cents to that.
So this was, I'm sorry. This was to me something where about half the people in my life see it one way and half the people in my life see it a different way. So I'm trying to like kind of see what are we disconnecting on. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that his intent wasn't to, stoke division, glorify violence or racism. I'm going to give him that benefit of the doubt. I don't know. But I'll say this. There was a line. So for the many folks who are offended by this, there's a line in it that says, try that in a small town, see how far you make it down the road. Around here, we take care of our own. So for a lot of my friends and family who are legal gun owners in small communities, they're like, yeah, that's what we do if someone breaks into a store. He's talking about the right to defend yourself. What I thought of when I read that was Ahmaud Arbery. I think of a black man in a small town in the South who literally just got shot for doing nothing wrong. So I think what becomes problematic...
What? How did you come to that conclusion? That's not what the man was saying. I mean, Alicia, she's supposed to be a Republican. I mean, is she even a Republican or what? But again, when you're working for the views, you got to compromise your conviction. But no, why would you even interpret it in that way? Again, I get it. Art is left to be interpreted. There's a level of subjective interpretation left in art. And most of the time, what the artist means and what we understand could be two different things. But this is why you should ask him. This is why you should read what he has to say. What exactly did he mean by that? Watching the video, I did not feel in any sense. They were saying, try that in a small town. See how far you make it, right? In a small town, we take care of our own. Okay, in what sense? Well, at the end of the video, he explained it to a large degree. It shows there was a farmer who something was wrong with his seeds and the people in a small town came together and help out. The goal so much of the video was to show community, love, camaraderie, unity, knowing each other, caring for one another. In a small town, this is possible because where there's a smaller communities, we can kind of work together in a much better and effective manner than that of the larger cities. We don't know each other in the large cities, okay? People come in and go. We don't even know who some of our neighbors are. That's part of the issue. There is that fellowship is lacking in larger cities, but in small town, it is possible. Now, for you to insert a black man in a small town going out to do something. Now, first of all, why will anybody go in a small town and do something like that? If they do something happens to them, well, listen, man, law and order, justice is served. I don't recommend it. Okay, plus people in a small town, oftentimes they do carry. So you should be extra careful, okay? But for you to insert that in there, you are reinterpreting the nature of the song. And again, you are fueling the violence and the misunderstanding and the racism that doesn't need to exist, which is not even correct because that's not what the song was about in a way.
is that there's a lack of recognition of what this means to about 50% of the country whose experience isn't Jason Aldean's. I like him. I've always liked his music. I'm kind of a country gal about like a quarter of the time. But this is also for the folks on the right who are defending this. They see the BLM riots, I think many can acknowledge protests and riots, that George Floyd's death.
They were not, some of them were peaceful, but many of them were riots. Okay, so let's be fair.
Death and murder was evil. It was wrong. It was unacceptable. But so was the killing of someone like David Dorn, a black retired police officer who was defending his friend's store and was shot during the riots and aftermath of that movement.
Good point.
So I think if people of good faith can see both sides, they can see there is an issue with this song because of what it means to a lot of communities, but there is an issue of violence, of looting, of rioting.
Yes, but why are you linking it to black people?
Well, that's
that's the issue.
That's the issue. The imagery is what becomes very problematic.
He is not linking it to black people. Black people are linking it to themselves.
This is difficult for me to say.
And the reason that is unfortunately the reality shows we are responsible for more than half of the crimes committed in the United States. And this is mainly done by black folks, teens, of course, in cities that are Democratic run with policies and everything, like Chicago and all these different places, Ferguson's and all that, right? So Memphis. So when you think about it, the reason black people feel like this is about them, and I don't even think the average black man is thinking in the way that these people are, but the reason they feel that way, maybe is because we commit a large portion of the crimes, at least violent crimes, in this country. Can we be honest with ourselves for a minute and start asking the question, why do black people are among the most bitter and angry and violent? Why do we pull the trigger so quickly on those we have an issue with? Why are so many of our teens in the inner city communities are so willing to gun down one another? Can we ask about that? Now, if you feel that way about the song, you're kind of telling on yourself. You're not necessarily saying that he's wrong for saying it. And even if he was saying black people commits crime, he's not wrong for saying that because it is happening. Doesn't mean white people don't commit crimes. They do at a different degree. Interracial crimes, I get that. That makes sense. But the crime rate and level of that which is done by the hands of black people is at a much higher degree. You can't sugarcoat that. You can't call me Uncle Tom for saying that because it's true. It's true. And the people that are hurting are the people who live in these communities where black folks are acting up in this way. Don't sugarcoat that because they're the ones suffering.
You can sing about there's a lot wrong here with this. This is a man who saw what happens when someone is out of control with their guns.
Yeah.
He was performing in Vegas, and he saw people get. So I don't understand how he could be that disconnected. How people around him didn't say to him, hey, listen, you know what? Maybe there's a better way to do this because
when the imagery invoked race.
The issue is that they're missing the point of the song altogether and they're making an attack on guns. Well, a person out of control with a gun is a problem, but a person with control with a gun could be a savior as well. So these ladies are so disconnected.
I'll ignore that.
I have a hard time. I know I'm pausing this video back and forth. I just have a hard time. I have to debunk and push back against this because this is the mentality of many people in our country today. And that's why we are in this trouble.
There's no reason to separate big city people from small town people. That, to me, is the divisive part of this song. I mean, it's a deplorable song.
No, there's nothing wrong with that because that's the reality. we left the larger cities because of some of these issues that were addressed in the song. Are we racist now?
And it's annoying. Got a gun that my granddad gave me. They say one day they're going to round up. Well, that S might fly in the city. Good luck. It's very divisive and provocative.
There is a warning in the song. The warning in itself is not wrong. And I'll tell you something. Most criminals know very well. Most criminals know this. Don't go to a smaller cities where a majority of the people there are gun owners. Where do most criminals feel comfortable committing crimes? In larger cities. Why is that? Because they can get away with it. Why is that? Because people don't know them. Why is that? Because they can do it and move somewhere else. It is easy for them to do that. In a small town, they can't do that. If they come in a small town and do something like that, by the time they leave, it will be, you get my point. We're going to have a funeral. So the thing is, there is a warning in there, and the warning needs to be heeded. If I were a criminal, I'll be listening to that. I wouldn't act as if, oh, this is racist. No, I'm telling you, if you go to a small town acting up, we're not going to take it. So where is the evil in that?
I can't take it anymore.
But I defend his right to do this video.
Absolutely.
Because they can't censor me, they shouldn't censor him either.
Okay.
But he has to understand that the big cities are supporting the small towns. Blue counties are responsible for 70% of America's economy. The big cities are really providing the things that you have in these small towns.
That's beside the mark, though. That's beside the mark. You can say that. Fine. Well, a lot of what's happening in smaller towns benefit larger cities as well. Like the farmers who live in small town are providing food for the largest. So it is a trade. So I don't know. I haven't really studied the nature of what she just made here, George Behar, but it could be, I'm sure somebody might be able to explain that to me in a comment below. But that's still beside the point of the song.
Should not be against big cities.
Yeah, but okay, so when I first heard the title before I heard the song, I kind of thought, oh, great, a small town song, like, because I am from a small town in Iowa. I understand the pride and the differentiation between towns and rural communities and the cities, because you're not thought of very highly in this country, never have. Like, when you come out here, I was always that girl from Iowa. Mm-hmm. Understandably, I claim it proudly. But the point is that we have...
What's wrong with saying that girl from Iowa?
No, they weren't saying it in a way. They're like, oh, she doesn't get it. It's from Iowa. You know, the point is we have a simple life. It's about family. It's about church. It's about community. Big
Correct.
cities have
I
that
have
too.
the same exact point.
Well, let me finish my
that's her
point. Big cities have the same thing. I had that in my own area.
They don't have the same level of fellowship. They don't have the same level of understanding and compassion and patience with one another. Huge, huge difference. Like in a small town, if one of your sons misbehaves, almost everybody knows about it. That's why most kids act right. In a small towns, you will look out for each other's children. I was raised in Haiti in a small town. Okay, there's some stuff you can't do. Like, and then moved to New York City, lived in Brooklyn, Queens, New York. I hated it. After 3 years, I packed up and left and moved to PA because I just could not stand the larger city's way of doing things. I'm so much more like a nature kind of guy. I hate all the sign and all. I couldn't stand it. But nevertheless, that was me because of the way that I was brought. But what I've realized that was very good with smaller cities, small towns, or even countrysides, or just, it's just that people love each other. People look out for each other. I mean, you can't go to anybody's house and get food. And it's like the level of relationship that there is so much better. We look out for each other's children. I mean, criminals and pedophiles don't get away with some of the stuff that in a small town, they don't get away with this stuff as they would in a larger city. And that's a beautiful thing.
In Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is not exactly Iowa. But my point is, coming from a small town, when a lot of people don't leave those towns, I understood the community part. The problem is you can never say, see how far you make it down the road without knowing the history of this country.
You know, part of my issue with these women is the fact that they're examining the man's songs. They're digging and digging and digging and digging. There we go. WAP by Cardi B. I can't play that. I refuse to play that, okay? So, we are mad at a song, and they're detailing the song, they're breaking it down. Fine, you can do that. Cardi B has a song with Megan Thee Stallion. It's called WAP. You know what the word WAP means? So for some of you already know. Okay, so I'm not even going to go into that. I'm not going to play the song. There's no reaction here. I'm not going to give it that time. It's 506 million views. Did you hear what I say? The ladies on The View will not talk about that. They don't talk about Lil Nas X music. They don't talk about drill rappers that are glorifying crimes in their NFCDs. They don't talk about the dead bodies of young black men that are killed by the hands of other black men. They only talk about it when they want to either virtue signal, they want to act as if they care.
I am here because I care.
It's like who are you trying to deceive with this rhetoric? As if we don't know that you guys are just doing this to put on a show. This is a charade. This is an act. Like one of my sons would like to say, my 5-year-old, he liked to say, so you just pretending? He likes to ask this question. He said, oh, these people are pretending. Well, there you go. The people on The Views, for the most part, they are pretending to care. They are pretending that they love black people. They are pretending, because for the vast majority of them, they really don't care.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just Jason Aldean, because he didn't write the song, he did perform it. But there's a lot of like checks and balances when you're putting out an album. Right. You're going to be touring, you're going to be performing it. I also say shame on every person that could have caught it along the way to say there are problems here with this song. And maybe
give me a break. You didn't see, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, yeah, the producers, the record label, and so on. How come you don't say the same thing when they are promoting violence in black communities? They are talking about this stuff is signed, accepted, worship. Like, you can go on YouTube right now and type drill music. Listen, the drill music itself, that drill music itself, and what these guys are promoting is so diabolical that everybody should be coming against that. But you know what they have to protect them? There's something they call, I think it's called the Rap Act. And what it does, it protects them. It protects them. There it goes. Rap Act, a bill to ban use of lyrics as court evidence, reintroduced to Congress. Sorry. That was passed, by the way. That was passed. So that means the gangster, the rapper, can go on his record label, on his music, and talk and talks and glorify the crimes he's committed, and he is protected by law because his lyrics cannot be used as evidence of his wicked deeds, even though the lyrics does show a link to the crimes he's committed. It cannot be used in the court system. Lord have mercy.
This is just wrong.
And you're going to talk about try that in a small town. Like, you serious? like, you serious right now? Like, come on, man. How many person has died in country music because of a country song? But how many rappers have lost their lives in the rap industry because of the violent promotion of rap music? But you guys aren't saying nothing. You ain't saying nothing.
I quit.
Maybe the biggest thing he should do right now is listen. When you want empathy, like even Gretchen, the governor said, well, people need to just listen. They're coming after him. If you want people to empathize with your side, or your take or your interpretation, you need to stop, and he should open his ears, because maybe he doesn't consciously realize why a lot of people are not okay with this song, and he should really listen to that.
I'm actually not going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm.
Oh boy, this is Sonny Hostin. Guys, it gets worse.
Pleased that you are, and I'm pleased that you are.
You do agree that he should be allowed to say whatever he wants.
Because as a lawyer, when I put my legal hat on, I don't believe in censorship.
Right.
However, this man is from Macon, Georgia. My father's from Augusta, Georgia, and Macon, Georgia. I spent many summers there. Yeah, both. I spent many summers there. It is one of the most racist places in this country. So don't tell me that he knew nothing.
You gotta be careful how you say that. Maybe you've had an experience there that you classify as racist, but when you call an entire place racist, that's a huge statement. That means you take everybody and again, that's just, you gotta be careful with a statement like this.
About what that imagery meant
say he didn't
and
know
what
anything.
so I don't give him the benefit.
But I'm saying, along with him, more people should also be held accountable.
The other thing is that what was evoked for me, which was, you're not going to get out of this town are those sundown
don't let the sun
areas
go down on your ass.
Because there were times when black people, my mother's in the audience today, thank you for coming.
She's not black.
And my mother and father, because they were an interracial
doesn't matter.
couple.
That's fine. She doesn't have to be black. But again, it's just her rhetoric is so bad. I think Sunny Osteen has to be one of the most racist black women that exists today. Her rhetoric is so really bad. I mean, I feel so sorry for her.
Couple were run out of South Carolina by the KKK. And my father is still scarred from that experience, and you are still scarred from that experience. So
We're
don't
all
tell,
still scarred from that experience.
We all still scarred from that experience. That was their experience. And doesn't mean it's okay. But the notion that we all still scar from that, I don't necessarily understand this. And again, you said people do bad things to each other. Some of the worst scars I've had were done by the hands of black people. I had to move on. I had to forgive and put it behind me and deal with the trauma and move on. But if you are still scars after that happened, you should see a psychologist. You should really be getting some mental health issues. Like you're dealing with some other issues. I mean, you got to be able to move on eventually. But now to say because of that one experience, therefore I'm going to automatically make the claim that every other white person, because of this song, all of a sudden racism is back. Stop. You guys need to stop.
So don't tell me that not only was he aware of what he was doing by using that imagery, he embraces that imagery. And unfortunately, this became the #1 song on US iTunes. We have a problem in this country about race, and the biggest problem is we refuse to admit that it exists.
Well,
people admit that it exists. You guys do a good enough job talking about it. So to say that racism doesn't exist is just not true. It does exist. But it doesn't exist to the degree of which you guys speak about. You guys glorify it. And you guys look to resurrect racism. Even when, for the most part, racism is on life support in America. It really is. Like, there's still some vestige of racism left, but because, again, you can't really get rid of racism because it's in the heart of humanity. Because only God can change the heart. Now, you can change systems and you can put enough laws in place and everything to stop it from happening, but you can't really stop it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like criminals. You can't stop them from committing crimes, but you can definitely stymie them, their ability to carry it out, stuff like that. But, Sunny Osteen, you need help.
Don't you think that a lot of this big city, small town business?
The biggest problem is the fact you guys talk about it nonstop. The biggest problem is because you make everything racism. That is the biggest problem. Not racism in itself. It's the fact you guys glorify it. You guys, you worship the racist tree. You want racism to exist. It's like, that's why we are in this mess. It's not the fact it did happen. It's not the fact it does exist. It's the fact you guys can't stop talking about it. None. Stop. And you glorify it. You look for it where it doesn't exist. That is my problem.
Business is racist, is about race. The cities have more black people than the small towns.
Of course,
and
that's why he used black imagery.
You turn on Fox News any given time of the day, and there's all these stories about New York and California being crime-ridden states. The states with the worst murder rates are all red states: Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Missouri.
You're making it Democrat.
That's actually not true, though. That's been debunked. So, yeah. And again, because they're all red states doesn't mean it's not so much because they're a red state that those things are happening. Okay. A lot of time is the people in the states that are doing this stuff, but there's things that politicians can do to make a difference. But that argument could be easily refuted because there's been argument proving that the cities, the blue cities are the ones that are committing the worst crimes. So that's also true as well. So again, that's what it is. Like Democrats says, you guys are the worst. And President says, you guys are the worst. But again, we all got issues. But that could be easily refuted, though.
But there are a lot of small towns that are not.
This is all political stuff.
But I know, but I'm saying that not every small town is a red or a blue.
But the ones that he's talking from.
You have the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I have a legal note.
Really?
Yes.
I do.
Shocking.
Jason Aldean defended his song in a statement, saying the references people have made are not only meritless, but dangerous. He added, there is not a single lyric in that song that references race or points to it. And there isn't a single video clip that isn't real news footage.
Did you ever hear of a dog whistle?
And while I can try and respect others to have their own interpretation of a song with music, this one goes too far.
No,
So that's what's so interesting about all of this, is it does go too far. You've gone too far.
Oh, give us a break. Oh, my Lord, I don't know how I managed to get through this. Sorry for making this video longer than it needs to be. What do we do with these ladies on the views? The rhetoric is so bad. I don't even know what to do with it. It's just like they're also racist. And they're also disconnected from reality. And I can tell some of them are very honest, though. They're really thinking they're solving a problem. But it's just the way they go about solving is the problem. It's just the creating. But again, listen, man, we have our differences as people. And I think irrespective of our skin color and so on, we need to come to a place where we can love and respect each other. Small town, large towns and everything. But again, I wish it was as simple as I want it to be. Having a Christian perspective, I will live at peace with everybody because I don't care. Like Romans 12 verse 18 says, if it be possible, as much as life, then you live peaceably with all men. That's like my heart desire. I would love to come to a place where we can be at peace with each other. But look at what the Bible says. The Bible is very clear. If it be possible, unfortunately, it's not possible. It's not possible for some people. It's not possible with some people. And some people are that's why we have to separate and go and live in different areas, different places around the world, because it's just that humanity is so much complex than things are so much complex with human beings than what we think. And unfortunately, there's time that you just got to separate. But we should try. We should strive. Right. But again, these ladies are just trying to divide. They're saying Jason Aldean is looking to divide the country. And I'm saying the exact opposite. You guys are the one dividing the country. Like shows like your own.
Because
The View.
Is an issue.
This rhetoric is what's dividing the country right there. And it's fine if you want to talk about Jason Aldean. I think you're entitled to your own opinion. But I will also say, don't just talk about Jason Aldean. Add to the list. Like, what's her name? All these women rappers and all these gang related rappers that are destroying our cities with violence, that are inspiring children to get involved in crimes. Let's talk about them as well. I'll say, make sure you call them out. Call some of these guys out, examine their lyrics, put their pictures on the screen, talk about what they said. And I think if you will do more of that, and if you were balanced in the same way you address Jason Aldean's video, if you will do the same for any other videos that's out there that is promoting any level of violence and crimes and wickedness, I would listen to you. But until then, you can have a good day. Like and subscribe to the page, click the bell icon for more. Have a good one. Bye.